Hi, everyone. Lauren Culp here, publisher and CEO at CUInsight.com. And I have a very special guest joining me today for another 3-question video. Today, I'm joined by Mark Weber, the CEO of Strum. Mark, hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Lauren?
I am hanging in there. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all are, I think.
Indeed.
Well, thanks so much, Mark, for taking
Wild
the time.
times.
I know, wild times for sure. Who could have predicted this? Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me today. I want to go ahead and just dive right into our 3 questions. So the first one that I want to talk about, these are obviously really difficult times for all of us across the globe. I'm curious, what is Strum doing right now to support credit unions and their members during this crisis?
Sure, you bet. It's a great question. None of us really could have predicted anything quite like this. So having been through, this will be the 3rd recession our company has been through. We've seen a lot, but we've never seen anything quite like this. So I think a lot of it is conversations, honestly, with C-suite teams of our clients around the country as they go through some of the things that we went through early here in Seattle.
Yep.
We had the first COVID case here. We went into stay-at-home orders early, and so we got to go through that first wave that a lot of people are going through right now. And so a lot of it's just talking with leaders about their marketing, about their brands, about their advertising. How do we change and respond? And I think there's 2 sides to that. One is the cultural side. How do you inspire and keep your own teams working and connected? And then what do you do with members and communities and lives, and how do you respond? So a lot of conversations, a lot of engagement. One of the things we decided a couple weeks ago was we could be really helpful to leaders by pulling together some ideas around what could you do to build your brand and marketing right now. So we put together a webinar and put it out on our social media posts and to our email list. We had 190 financial institutions show up last week
That's
for listening in. So obviously, how to respond in terms of marketing and building your brand in the midst of this crisis is a top of mind issue for a lot of people. So we're really just trying to bring ideas and counsel for what do you do with your tone of voice? How do you build and grow? And what do you stop? And people are asking just these key questions. Should we stop advertising? Is it insensitive to lean in right now and have conversations with people and members? And a lot of thinking in the first wave is very short term. It's reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of our counsel is just to help leaders think through that first wave of reaction that we all have suddenly when we have to send hundreds of people home and build our call center out of people's houses and close branches and make all these shifts. What is going to change that's permanent and what it is that we need to do immediately. And we've tried to lean in and work on that adaptation. I think one of the other things, Lauren, that's probably of help is we've had to make our own adaptations as an agency to a lot of credit unions, and that has included things we had not done a lot of before, though we'd done a little bit of it, and that is a whole lot more, not just Zoom meetings, which we're happy to do, but really to adjust even some of the processes of branding and marketing and market research with clients and internal teams. We've gone to develop online focus groups. We've been building our brand workshops into online modules that we can actually lean in with a team of 12, 15 people from an organization. Because in this slack time, where the tide has sucked back and we don't know what's ahead, is an amazing time for people to begin to think about their brand and how to position, not for today, but really for what's coming ahead. How will people come out of this and how will they view brands in the future?
Right. Well, and I would imagine that so many of the actions that we're taking and the ways that we're responding now, people will remember that. They'll remember if their credit union was there for them or how they responded to the crisis years down the road.
Well put. I think one of the things that keeps me engaged and focused is to realize that credit unions were absolutely made for a time like this. There could be no better moment in the history of the movement than the pain that people are under right now, the need that they're feeling for someone to trust, the importance of values right now, and having someone there you can lean in on. And we know from the research that we're watching, which we shared in our webinar, is the number one issue obviously is healthcare and COVID, but number two, right behind that is people's finances and their economics and paying rent and student loan payments.
Right.
And the impacts are overwhelming. And so having a steady voice, confidence, somebody they can trust in, this is a moment for credit unions to shine.
That is so true. Well, I'm curious from your perspective as well, you know, there are so many implications of this COVID crisis that we're experiencing right now. Thinking ahead, how do you think that this might affect credit unions and the way that we do business in the long run?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, one of the things we've thought a lot about in the last 3 or 4 weeks is when you have the benefit of the end of a recession to look back and reflect, okay, wow, what did we learn that we wish we hadn't done?
Yeah.
As much as what did we do, you get perspective. And so I think that that critical thing is not just making all good decisions and right decisions. Sometimes it's the decisions not to make,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the things not to do that become critical. And I think some of that is the first reaction is you have to be very tactical. And a lot of credit unions have stepped up phenomenally well to bring information and content onto their homepage, their website, into emails, reaching out to members with help, with loan deferments, with skip-a-pay payments. That's been inspiring to watch. And I think that's part of the great side of how credit unions and how their leaders are wired, is to reach in and make a difference in people's lives. I think looking ahead, though, that reflection on how you come out of recessions it's critical more than ever to realize that you have to be tactical in this first wave. But if you lose sight of strategy, if you lose sight of adjustments that you need to make, you're going to fall further behind, and it's going to take longer to catch up in that spot. And so I think a long, steady, amazing bull market like we've had of 10 years, where growth is fantastic, we see sectors and consumers rising, spending's high, is fantastic, but it can hide flaws and business strategies that we may have put off.
Right.
And this crisis is not going to allow us now to ignore some of those. So I think there's going to be a lot of shifts certainly in marketing and the way people think about their brand and their positioning. We know we're going to see an incredible wave right now of people prioritizing actionable data analytics more than they ever have before.
Right.
Not just mobile banking and platform decisions, those are internal decisions, but how members experience their credit union is going to be online in ways we never could have anticipated. It'll rise that fast. So I lean back and say, you need phenomenal information in analytics around your members, their lifestyles, their pain points, things that you can build and grow and know about them that allow you to lean in and build solutions for them, and very personalized kinds of experiences that aren't broad-based generic blast campaigns and emails to try and reach everybody with the same message, because we are so different. The one other thing that I think this is an interesting moment to lean in on is the credit union industry has not been super innovative in all ways that other industries like technology, fintech, software. I work in different industries where innovation, R&D, is a constant flow of
Right.
leaning in to find new ways to enhance things. That's not been a hallmark for the credit union industry in general. It has for some institutions, but new product development, innovation within the industry, bringing products that matter to Gen Z, kids, families, is probably going to take center stage in the coming 6 to 12 months. And I think it's rightfully so.
There could be, obviously, these times are so challenging and we never would have wanted this, but there could be some positive outcomes for the credit union industry if we're able to really take advantage of this time and make those really kind of quick pivots in our strategy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think this is, as difficult and trying as these times are, and they're wearying. There's no question. All of us are feeling it, that sense of just wondering what the end looks like, and knowing that it impacts a portion of our members profoundly more than others. We want to support and help and find ways to make a difference. But, there are going to be winners and losers in this. There are going to be organizations that will not be able to make the bridge fast enough and adapt and change fast enough. And I think knowing what moves to make and which ones to really prioritize right now strategically, which are going to be levers of helping organizations not only help their members in the short term, but really to grow as well. Because in the end, we've got to build sustainability into our business model. We've got to find that place to get back on a growth roadmap while we continue to help our members and make an impact in our communities. And it's going to require some adjustments. And I think that's a great opportunity for credit unions to lean in and find those right levers to pull ahead.
Wow. Well said. I could not agree more. I'm curious, how are you doing personally? I mean, what's keeping you sane? Or sometimes I ask, are we all still sane? But what's keeping you afloat during these trying times?
Yeah, it's hard to define exactly what sane or normal is anymore.
Right.
If somebody tells me one more time what the new normal is, I'm gonna hit somebody. But it really is true. We're having to figure out what that is for all of us individually, for our companies. I think for me personally, I find myself, I have never been more prolific in writing, in developing content. And part of that is I feel a sense of really being fired up. As weird as that sounds, I feel like this is a war against not just COVID and people's healthcare. This is a war to ensure and help that people not only stay alive. Here we are in Washington now, one of the states that is starting to see the flattening of the curve. And now we begin to think about, okay, what does coming out of it look like? And so you begin to shift thinking about the recovery. And for me, I feel like I've been in this battle, one for the virus, helping my friends and family. I've got family that are nurses.
Wow.
I've got friends who are doctors, friends who are involved in the Gates Foundation and making impacts, not just here, but globally. And so this virus, first and foremost, but the recession too, and the economic impacts are so crucial. And I feel like this is a chance to really lean in and find ways and strategies. And so I'm writing to try and find ways to bridge and work our ways out of this recession and think about what it means to be healthy ahead in all ways, financial wellness, in physical wellness. And so the bridge of those things has been a theme I've been engaged and involved in for a long, long time with both clients and with some of the nonprofits I work with. Relationships, what a wonderful time to kind of peel back and realize how important friends are.
So true.
I got two of my kids back, one from England who had just quit her job in January. Interesting timing, moved back in.
Right.
And a son in college that suddenly is having to do online.
Right.
So I love having my kids with me, and at the same time, I drive them nuts. And so that personal adjustment is kind of a sense of how do we find a rhythm and realize how important family is to us, and adjustments I need to make back in their lives as I'm still dad.
Right.
I can be an idiot. And so a humbling moment. It's funny, we talked about this a moment ago, just moments to step outside and take in fresh air are really profound for us. So I'm not the green thumb in the house. My wife, Karen, is, and but I find myself out there helping her more in the garden. And so some of the fallouts of COVID, as you begin to think ahead, is your wife can suddenly have a wild hair and go out and buy a giant chicken coop and suddenly come home with 8 baby chicks.
Goodness.
So I guess part of my personal recovery is going to be raising chickens and becoming a chicken rancher.
All right. All right.
So I'm in it for the fresh eggs.
Sure. Yes. Hard to beat fresh eggs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing. I have not considered getting chickens, but that is a strategy I'll
Hey,
put that on the list.
I'm offering it up. Free of charge
Yeah.
is build farms and grow your own organic food.
Well, that is definitely one option. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, Mark, thank you so much for spending some time with me. It's been great to hear about what you're working on, what Strum's working on, and really your expertise in how credit unions can really make sure that they are long-term positioned for success and for the
Yeah.
success of their members. Are
Thank
there
you,
any
Lauren.
last thoughts you would like to share with our audience today before we wrap it up?
Yeah, you think about moments like this and you realize, in the same way you ask a question, what are you doing personally? I don't think there's ever been a more important time as I'm having conversations with our clients and leaders of organizations. We're reflecting this will be a moment that we will look on for the entire history of our career.
Right.
And it's an opportunity to know, what did you do at that time? What was your legacy in the midst of that crisis? And I think this is a golden moment for individual organizations to realize that your brand can absolutely be built up and established and differentiated and honed in powerful ways. And I'm also cautioning people in the things not to do, because it can also be damaged with the wrong kinds of steps. So I think it's so important just to lean in with that idea of brand leadership. Never been a greater moment, both to lead internally with your own teams, and to think about your members, your communities. People need us in different ways right now than they ever have before. So I take that as a profound responsibility and a challenge, even within my own company.
Right. Well, amazing way to wrap this up. You are so right. This is a time of a lot of opportunity, a lot of responsibility to make sure that we are acting a way that we'll be really proud of as we tell folks 10 years from now what happened during this time. So, Mark,
Indeed.
thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'm going to go ahead and link to Strum's website in the post here so that anyone who is looking to get some more information on you all and what you do can easily access that. To everyone who's watching today, thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Lauren Culp, joined here by Mark Weber, and we hope you all take care. Mark, take care as well. Stay healthy, and thank you so much.
Thank you for the time, Lauren. Really appreciate it.
You take care.
All right.